Hey guys, welcome back to Heiko Shaves. Today is really time for a shave. I have 3 days of growth in my face and I have been promising you guys a vintage shave, right? A little while ago on the channel Stubble Meets Steel, hi John, I won a giveaway. I got this beautiful gem razor here. This is a razor from 1958, jam branded, and it uses single edge blades that go in here. This one is called the push button, I guess, 1958 push button. Kind of the, way of loading the blade gives the name away here. Push button, it opens the razor. Then you insert a specific single-edged blade that goes in here. John was so kind to also provide a few blades to me because they are kind of expensive and difficult to get, and there are not really many choices. So they are gem branded. They actually have the brand name on here, gem, and he sent me PTFE coated blades and carbon steel blades. So let's go through the history of this beauty here a little bit. Everything started in 1870 with the brothers Kampfe coming over from Germany, and they opened a tool and die making shop in Brooklyn, New York. And, they were mechanics, they were tool makers. They had machinery probably and some skills, and they got frustrated with shaving. So they came up with an idea to take a regular straight edge razor, like a long straight edge razor blade that, most people would go rather to a barber who really knows how to do that than to cut themselves. He would take the blade, cut it down, and just keep a short piece of it. And then he made some sort of a contraption, a handle for it, and a mechanism to insert this piece of a straight edge razor into this razor. So it had a handle just like a modern safety razor. And they actually produced this from 1875 under this name Star Safety Razor Company. And they got a patent on that in 1880, granted by the US as Star Razor. And it was the first ever produced safety razor in the United States. Now we have to establish what that looked like. So those razors were known as wedge blade safety razors or wedge blade razors. And what is a wedge blade? I don't own one made by Star, but I can show you in principle what it is. If you guys are into shaving, obviously you're watching my video, you probably have looked around on eBay for vintage razors. So there's a company in England. They made millions of those Rolls razors. This here is the box that it comes in. And then I already opened it up so to make it a little easier to present. It's literally a whole shaving system. There's a strap in here. Oh, let's put this out of the way, the sharp implement here. All right, let's put this down like that. There is a strap, a kind of a sharpening stone, and a whole mechanism that accepts a blade. And then you can sharpen your own little wedge blade. And then a handle. And here is the actual piece of blade. So the piece of blade looks like a standard straight edge razor. And it has this guard on here, as you can see. So you literally have a close comb and a piece of a straight edge razor. And this is what a wedge blade looks like. The Star razor was different. It was not just like this little, here, let me take it off. There's a little handle and you just slide that on and the guard was like permanently attached. It was actually more like this contraption here. So you had some sort of mechanism where you would put the wedge blade in there and then close it up and then shave with it. But you would still have to deal with the sharpening of the thing. So you would still have to sharpen and strop the blade before you use it. And then eventually, one of their company employees, Mr. Jerry Rasiert, sounds like a German name as well, he started the Gem Cutlery Company in 1898. And he also borrowed heavily on the Star razor design and created the Gem Safety Razor. And then apparently, eventually, they were able to overcome the complication of using a pretty heavy wedge blade, and they came up with this rip back blade design. So instead of using a really heavy, stout piece of a razor blade, and you have to sharpen this every time. They came up with the idea of creating a replaceable, thin, carbon steel, sharpened in the factory, and kind of still this wedge design. So you have one thicker end and a thin end. And some of those razors, they were fairly similar. And ultimately then in 1958, this came out of it. So Jerry Rasiert, that invented the gem razor, he actually left the company again to start another company together with another German guy. And they created the Yankee Company. Oh yeah, the Yankee Company made wedge blade razors under the name Yankee, Mohican, and Winner. The Yankee Company is renamed Everready, which we already know, right? In 1905. Gem and Everready merged in 1906 and is incorporated as the American Safety Razor Company in 1906. Abandoning the wedge blade design, and they introduced the standard single-edged rip back blade in 1906. I don't know exactly. In 1915, Everready shaving brushes were first introduced and continued to be produced until the early 1990s. So that's where that all started. A little confusing, companies changing names and merging and whatnot. But ultimately from the wedge blade, which is similar to this blade here from the Rolls razor from England. This here is actually, it says on there, made in England, Rolls razor. There's something engraved on here. Best Sheffield steel and Rolls razor, patent number, and so on. And then we ended up with a gem razor. Nowadays, they have fallen out of favor, in favor of the double-edged safety razor and also the other designs of the single-edged razor, right? So we have a correct blade. And like I said, we're not going to use the shop single-edged blades that I found down in my garage. They look similar, but dimensions are different, but they are reminiscent of a gem blade, I guess. Right. And since we are so all American safety razor company, gem razor and all that, I figured we're going to use Old Spice, which is also a really old product. This here, of course, is new production. This is shaving cream. We're going to use that. Then we have the matching aftershave. This is also new production. This is a plastic bottle. Even back in the days, this used to be porcelain, I believe. This is all new production. And who makes it these days? In Canada, made by Procter & Gamble. We're going to use some Cremo as pre-shave. I have all the water stuff set up here. I'm just going to put a few things out of the way so I'm not going to accidentally cut myself with a Rolls razor here. And I'm not going to drop stuff on the ground. Handle blade out of the way. All right. So I have no idea how this is going to go. John explained to me how to use it, but we'll find out. The brush that we're going to be using is here already soaking in my cup. It's an Everready brush with boar bristles. Not super big fan of that brush because it's kind of hard and prickly, but I pre-soaked it, as you can see. It's nice and wet and soaked in and warm. And now we're just going to grab our Old Spice, and it says, smell like a man. All right, let's smell like a man. Put some shave cream on here. That might be a little much. Perfect. Let's put some water in my face real quick. And put some Cremo on top of that, just as a pre-shave. Give us a better chance of survival, especially with 3 days of growth. That gem blade is facing a challenge here. We'll see how that goes. All right. Perfect. All right, let's see how we're going to fare with the lathering here. All right, shave cream, wet brush, and wet face. And now we're dropping the shave cream almost off my brush here. Okay, here we go. That's better. Yeah, the brush is pretty harsh. It's pretty pointy. All those bristles, they are digging into my skin. I've used it a few times. I've washed it with shampoo. I have done the conditioning of the bristles, but it's still pretty harsh. It does, however, lather pretty well. So yeah, when I first got those gem blades, they reminded me of cheap Chinese-made razor blades that I had in my shop. You know, that you get in like certain scraper tools. And so I went down to the shop and found them. They really look identical, just the dimensions are a little different. And I bet for the scraper tool, they don't use the fanciest steel either. Yeah, the scent of Old Spice, if you have never smelled it, just go to the grocery store in the, in the shampoo and aftershave section and find a bottle and sniff it. It's pretty powdery, but a lot of people used to use it back in the days, I guess. It's a very well-known aftershave and soap. Has been around since the 50s, I believe, or maybe the 40s. I'm not 100% sure. I focus more on the history of the gem razor, how that all came about. Pretty interesting, if you think about it, back in the days you had to go to the barber or learn how to shave yourself with a straight edge. And then what that entails is you have to sharpen that thing also, because it doesn't hold an edge forever. So you have to sharpen, strop, shave with it. And that's like, that's quite some undertaking. And then, of course, if you have machine tool making people that have some skills, they try to come up with inventions to make it easier on the average Joe, so you don't have to learn all those things. All right, I haven't even inserted a blade. So here we have the gem blade. It says stainless on the back and gem on the other side. That goes in here somehow. There are some little tabs that hold the blade in place. I'm not sure if I got this all straight here. And then you just push that button back. Alignment looks pretty good, I think. There is a little bit of some blade gap. Not too crazy. Yeah, the blade is in there. Everything looks good. And we have the lather in the face. Handle is a little interesting here with this little step down here. It's all plastic. Has good grip, I would say. Fine. And he told me to just put it on my face and then tip it out a little bit, 15 degrees. Oh, it shaves, I guess. We'll see how many passes we're gonna dare to do. And pretty much with every razor that you try for the very first time, just be gentle, be careful, no pressure. Try to find the right angle. Oh, there's some bristles from my boar brush, ever ready. I thought it would fit pretty well since Everready and Gem, they kind of joined and became the American Safety Razor Company. This is actually pretty usable. I looked at pricing of some blades. You can get a 10-pack for 10 bucks. So one blade is $1, but you can buy bigger packs as well. And then it comes down to like 30, 40 cents a piece, but not really too many choices either. So there is Gem and that's pretty much it. It is definitely not as sharp of a blade as other safety razor blades that we are used to. This has quite a bit of tugging. But it shaves. It's not as, smooth as like a feather blade just slicing through your stubbles. But and it's definitely not as easy to find the angle. But so far, so good. The head also has a lot of hollow, empty space and a lot of water gets trapped in it. That's why I'm like dripping all over myself here. And it's a little messier than with a safety razor. Because it keeps dripping all over me. Ease of use. It's just like a safety razor with 2 edges, or the typical, you know, leaf, twig, thorn, other single edge safety razors, because you insert a blade and you start shaving. There's nothing to it really. The skinny little handle here, and this little step down here, this is definitely something to get used to, but you know, it falls in place. So it's not too bad, not too bad. Shaking out the water out of the razor, and we're gonna lather up again here. Let me just spread this out a little bit. Yeah, there's still stubbles left for sure, but that's probably my fault. It's my technique, or the lack thereof, the lack thereof of using a gem razor, because it's all a little different. All right, there we go. So let's do a second pass across the grain with a 1958 push button gem razor. Even though the plastic has those ribs in it, it's still a little slick. Those razors are not in production anymore, so the manufacturer is not going to take any design cues from me, from my complaints, yeah? So pretty lightweight too. How much does it weigh? With a blade and some water, 48 grams. 48, that's about half of your typical double-edged safety razor. Unless you buy a plastic razor from AliExpress. But I gotta say, it is totally usable. Still the tugging sensation, so that's still a sign that the blade is just not as sharp as other stuff that we have used here on the channel. The cutting edge of the blade is relatively close to the outer edge of the razor head, which is good. So you can pretty easily get under your nose. Not bad, not bad. All right, shaking out the water again. Using very little pressure. I do feel a little bit of a burning sensation, and I'm not sure if that is maybe caused by the Procter & Gamble soap here. I've noticed that those more large-scale manufacturing products, soaps and aftershaves, they have way longer ingredient lists. Let's see here: water, palmitic acid, stearic acid, coconut acid, glycerin, potassium hydroxide, triethanol amine, fragrance, phenoxyethanol, sodium hydroxide, hydroxypropyl, methyl cellulose, sodium silicate, linalool. So yeah, long list of things, and I'm no expert, of course. I'm not a chemist, nor a soap maker. So I don't know if all those chemically sounding things really have to be in there, but it seems like it's just giving me a little bit of a burning sensation. So I'm just going to wash this off here real quick. All right, so cleaned up, soap off my face. And I think just a combination of having a little bit more growth than usual. So usually I shave every other day, and that keeps my skin in training, so to speak. And so as soon as I let it grow out a little bit longer, there is a little bit more to shave off. Then maybe those gem blades are just not quite as sharp as other blades. So if I would have used, you name it, Wilkinson sword half blade in my thorn, it would have gone through there without any tugging, no tugging sensation. And maybe all the combination of all those things just give me a little bit more irritation than normally. But I gotta say, after those 2 passes, we're smooth. There is, of course, a little bit here in my danger zone, but I didn't do a against the grain pass, so this is very acceptable. But up here, very nice, very clean. So now we're going to use the Procter & Gamble alcohol, denatured water, propylene glycol, fragrance perfume, benzyl alcohol, PEG 60, hydrogenated castor oil. So yeah, the list is a little longer in those products. The typical famous Old Spice scent. A lot of old guys use that, if your grandfather smelled like Old Spice. That was maybe a little much. A little burning sensation, of course. Also, again, dry skin situation up here. But I am going to put some balm, some sort of skin conditioning on my face here in a second. And I actually noticed the Cella aftershave balm that I used a while ago is really nice to my skin. And my skin really enjoys this stuff. It even helps with my dry skin situation here. So once the aftershave has evaporated a little bit more, see, even down here I have a little bit irritation. So a soap or shaving cream plus the pokey bristles of a boar brush plus a maybe slightly subpar sharpness blade. It's just giving me a little bit of some irritation here. So I can't pinpoint exactly what the cause was, but let's get this a little cleaned up so you guys can look at it. I gotta say, for a 1958 design, and 1958, you can go to your Gillette Super Speeds and your Fat Boys and Slims adjustables. They were all from the 50s as well, or 60s. But it is a very usable design and interesting. Those blades are usable for so many other purposes, not just shaving, but also, your wife might have a scraper for the Saran stovetop in her kitchen, the glass cooktop that some kitchens have. They use a little scraper too. If like something spills over and burns into the glass, you can scrape it off because glass is really hard. You're not going to scratch it. And they use those kind of blades here. This one here literally is a blade from Harbor Freight out of one of those cheap plastic scrapers. And, it's kind of interesting that some designs have survived and people still love it, and some other designs have kind of fallen out of favor. This is really easy to load. You only have one sharp edge to worry about. The other corner is dull and you can easily touch it and grab it. And really overall the design is pretty good. The handle could be a little thicker for my taste. The ribs on here, this is really lovely thing. This is a pretty cool vintage looking razor. Close comb, and I really like the cutting edge is close to the outer edge of the razor head, so you get everywhere. Not too pointy edges here. It's kind of rounded off. So, you know, not bad, not bad. Joins the ranks of other single-edge safety razors over here. And it works, it works. Due to the blade situation that you really don't have that many choices, I'm probably not going to start using this as a daily razor. But thanks, John. I appreciate it. I really enjoyed winning something in a giveaway. That never happens. I never win anything. I can send my 12-year-old to go to a raffle and draw a ticket. And for sure he's going to win something. And I will buy hundreds of tickets and not win anything ever. So, you know, I was really stoked when I was announced as the winner of this thing. So, yeah, thank you. Alrighty, guys, that was the Gem Razor from 1958 and a little bit of confusing history and how this all came about, starting with a wedge blade razor. And now that I showed you that I have a Rolls razor with this wedge blade here and this little integrated close comb, right? Close comb, pretty intense blade gap. We might have to shave with this thing one day, right? Let me know what you guys think. You guys want to see Heiko shave with a Rolls razor? But I first would have to completely restore and clean up the sharpening stone and the strop that's in there, because who knows? Yeah, you know what I mean. Alrighty, guys, that's it for today. Thanks for shaving with me. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. And if you're new here, welcome to Heiko Shaves. Please subscribe to the channel. And again, at the end of the video, I have to say there is going to be a giveaway coming up here on this channel soon. I am still waiting for a couple items. Once I have the package together, I will do a proper announcement of the giveaway and then we'll go from there. Thank you guys for joining and thanks for hanging out with me today. Take care. Bye.